Hello, and welcome to Lesson 3 of the ExamView Assessment Suite course. In this lesson, you will learn how to work with Test Manager. In the previous lesson, you learned how to work with Test Generator, where you were allowed to create an exam and save it to your teacher folder. So let's get started. Double-click on ExamView Test Manager. This will launch the application, where the first prompt that you're going to get is to select whether you want to open an existing class or start a new class. I've already created previous classes, so let me show you how that looks like. So I have created a second period and another class, Ed Tech. As you can see, if you click on the down arrow to see where it's located, it's located in the C drive following the program folder all the way to where it says classes. So let me cancel this. So let me start it again. Now we are going to select Start a New Class. The only thing that you have to enter in this page is the name of the class. I am going to choose third period. You can decide whatever name you want to for your class. Click OK. Now, you have just created a class, but there are no students. So there's several ways that you can start adding your roster. So I'm going to click down here, or you can click here. So, new students. So I'm going to start with, I'm just going to include myself in this class. This is the most important data right here, the student ID number. There's several ways that you can enter a student number, but I, for demonstration purposes, will only select the first letter of my first name and my last name. Obviously, students in a public school system will have their student ID number, so it is best to enter their student ID number right there. These over here on the right, these options are optional. You don't really need them. So I'm going to go next. And as you can see, it'll start populating. You'll be able to see it in your class, see the names of the students in your class. So I'm going to go with, just going to enter 3 or 4. And the last one. Okay, so you have your students already created. If in case you need to print out a report where you see a quick view of their username and their ID numbers, you can go to Reports, Class Rosters, and just click on Basic Information. Here, you'll be able to print it out so that they can see what their ID is for when they start taking their tests. Okay, from here we need to assign an exam to this class. Normally an assigned exam goes right here. So to do this, we have to go back to Test Generator. If you remember from the previous lesson, we were able to create an exam and save it to the desktop. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to open the same exam that I created. So let me go back to Chapter Test. Here it is. Okay, so now the next step would be to save the exam in a way that allows Test Manager to deploy it. So the steps are File, Publish to, and it's going to be the first option. Since we want the students to use Test Player and the test is going to be on your local area network, we're going to select the first one. The other options are useful, but the best way that you can use this in a public school setting with a school network would be the first option here. The next step would be to limit access in a particular class. That is okay. And the next step is to just save. Make sure that this is checked off. Every time that you save, you want Test Manager to open. So click Save. It's going to ask us, where do you want to save it? If you click on the down arrow, you can see many different areas where you can save this file, but this file needs to be accessed by all the students in a network. So I'm going to go to this network drive. Every campus should have a network folder that teachers are allowed to save so that everybody within the network can have access to see those documents. So in this case, this is my home. Where I teach, the folder is called public. This is where all the teachers can save to the server, basically. But since I'm currently in my home location, I created a map drive which is connected to the network, which allows me to save documents to the network. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to give it a name. So let's just say that this second test is going to be a retest. So chapter 1 retest. On save. And once again, Test Manager opens up. Now, all we've done so far is we've saved the test in a different format so that Test Manager can deploy it to these students right here. So the next step would be to click on New Assignments. And this has 9 steps. So we're going to start with the first one here. So the name of the test is going to be Chapter 1 Retest. Okay, you can leave this blank, it's optional. You don't really need it. But the one that you have to check off for step number 2 is this one. Land-based test delivered over a local area network. That's very important. So normally you won't see the tests there. This is already preset, but if you don't see the tests in this box right here, you need to check or at least click on the folder and scroll to where you have your network folder. So in this case, I have it in my ReadyShare in this folder and then in this subfolder. Click select. Now I can see everything, all the tests that I've created and saved in that location. So I'm going to click on the retest. You can leave these unchecked. Allow students to take the test multiple times. Allow the students to complete the test over multiple sessions. This is just a retest. It's one time. Next, it's good practice to put a password or when the students want to take the test. Make it a little bit harder than password. This is just demonstration purposes, so the password right now would be password. The next one is students may access the test anytime. Step number 5, you can leave that alone. Step number 6, specify the time limit. Since the classes are 45 minutes, I'm going to go with 45 minutes. And step number 7, select the question presentation order. If you want to scramble these, this is good practice. If you want to scramble them, you can. So that the student next to each other don't have the same order of question. But in this case, this is just demonstration purposes, so I'm just going to leave that as is. Step number 8, identify whether students may check their responses. I'm going to say no. Do not allow students to check the responses. You want them to take the test, submit their answers, and then see what their responses are. And besides, this is a retest. Step number 9, select the information shown when a student completes the test. Well, what I want is I want them to see their score. You have other options here that you can take a little bit more time to read, but mainly this is what I want. And this is what you would want to show the students as well, their grade. Click next, and that's it. You get a little summary of everything that you selected. Click on finish, and you're going to see that the test is going to be marked, or at least present on the first column. This concludes part 2 of lesson number 3 video.